Hello friends, today I would like to share a fragment of a game between two grandmasters with a lot of attacking exercises for you. So I'll give you an opportunity to pause the video and see if you can find those right moves that were made in the game or could have been made in this game. So let's start with the position in front of us. The last move that Grandmaster with the black pieces played here was bishop to d7. And first I have to admit that if it wasn't for one particular forcing sequence of initiative moves by white that were played in the game, black's position would be totally fine. Like if they played instead of like h6 or g6 or f5, the position is alright, but then we wouldn't have this video right now and these exercises that are gonna come. So please pause the video and try not only to find one move that creates threat from white's point of view against black, but also try to think how can black defend against your threat that was created and how would you counterattack that defense. And yes, you're absolutely right, the starting move is bishop to d3. So I think a lot of my subscribers here would be right and see this bishop to d3. But what comes next is very interesting. Let's observe. To me, the most natural first, at least, candidate moves that I would consider would be h6, g6, and f5. Now, let us observe h6 as the starting point. And here you can pause the video. It's going to be a calculation exercise. How can white get a close to or winning advantage? When I say winning advantage, does not mean that necessarily there is a checkmate, but there will be some material gains or a deadly attack that gives objectively a winning position for the white pieces. It's fantastic that rook takes h6 work in this position. We're giving up a rook for a deadly attack. So if they take, which I guess they don't have a choice, otherwise we continue the attack and we have also a pawn of an advantage. Although if you see this full line, maybe you could think differently that they should not have taken, but this is the big test for white. So first move that we play is queen to g4. Now if they go king f7, the game ends very quickly. We simply play queen to g6. So instead they go king h8, and here we're going to be threatening a mate in one with this battery connection of the queen with the bishop. The most natural move seems to be f5, disconnecting the bishop and its support of the queen. And here we have a free pawn to take. And another exercise for you, please pause the video and try to find a winning move for the white pieces. So if it wasn't for this next move, then this whole sacrifice of rook takes h6 would not work. White must see king e2 at the end, or else they may just end up in a losing position where they are a rook up. So this rook is coming to h1, and black has no way to avoid losing material in order to defend against the mating threat by white. I'm sure that players saw that h6 lose, and they also saw that g6 is not an option as well. This is another exercise for you, white to play, and continue the initiative. Very similarly, rook takes h7 work again. If they don't take, we're a pawn up and we continue the attack along the h file. So they gladly accept the rook, and then we use the pin that was used, that was there by our bishop, and they cannot take the queen because of that, a typical idea, and it ends up as a check and checkmate. So what to do for black? They tried in the game the move f5. Here things are a bit different. There is no sacrifice that would win for white, but you can pause the video and see if white can develop the initiative again. And the right move in this position is pawn to g4. Of course, the primary objective is to so-called soften this diagonal so that our bishop would start aiming at h7. But we also have a threat of taking on f5 and then winning the pawn on d5 by deflecting this pawn on e6, which is the defender of the pawn on d5. Now, unfortunately for black, opening up this diagonal doesn't promise them a good game. White could just simply take on h7, and then with queen g4, white is a pawn up, and black's king is so weak that it's inevitable that white's attack is going to be successful, and they likely are going to win even more material. Just look at these ninjas here around the black's king. So as we go back, Also, what is interesting, bishop e8 may be considered a defense by some, or a candidate move, as the queen is guarding d5. So then also after takes and takes, we can take on d5. An interesting tactic, simply because if queen takes, we have bishop to c4 pin, and white is winning the queen. So white has a lot of tactical opportunities as they stem from superior strategic position. White's pieces are simply so threatening and so active, black needs a little bit of time in order to make a few adjustments in the position. That would be all good, but white is not waiting. White is trying to kill here and now. So what happened in the game is black played h6, simply defending that pawn on a7, which was indirectly hanging. And after taking on f5, since we know that if they take on f5, we will take on knight takes d5, they played bishop to d6. Now white exchanges that weak pawn that they had, and after queen h5, white is much better. So the only question is this position objectively or practically winning, or black still can show teeth and try to fight. And white won comfortably. It doesn't mean all of us would win this comfortably. It's possible to lose any kind of position, but the objective evaluation of the position that white is between much better and winning. I hope you enjoyed these patterns. I think they're very useful, as a lot of them come again and again in other attacking games that you will have. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to my chess channel. You can also consider hiring me as your personal online chess coach. That's my job for almost 10 years. And stay healthy, my friends, and see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.